19, I guess. 20?
रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे बाप होते हैं.
Well, hello. Podcast number 20. Narkundi, Crypto Daddy, and Realist. Guys, I want to tell you, we look like hot chicks from Israel, but actually we're Indians. अगर आप
If you know, you know.
oh my god, like अगर आपको लग रहा था अभी तक हम बहुत ही हॉट बंदियां हैं जो इजराइल में रहती हैं, हम नहीं हैं. और एक पूरे झटके में एक झटके में नरकुंडी के पूरे कैटफिशिंग पे पानी फेर दिया इलॉन ने. यानी बता रहा हूँ मैं, ही इज लाइक सो अपसेट. क्यों नरकुंडी? तो
Okay.
यस, मैं बता रहा हूँ देखो कि इसने ना पिछले 2 घंटे
Bro, only you heard that because I think you're sitting in the same room. None of us did.
Yeah.
ओके या आई एम टेलिंग यू, तो नरकुंडी के साथ थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम है यार. जस्ट गिव हिम लाइक टुडे, राइट? आज पूरे उसने 2 घंटे, लाइक लिटरली 2 घंटे बस एवरी गर्ल दैट ही वाज फॉलोइंग ऑन एक्स उसने जाके चेक किया है कि ये बंदी कहाँ से है. और सब निकले रमेश, सुरेश, अपने ही सब भाई लोग.
Sir, believe me, sir, I am from Israel, sir.
सब अपने ही भाई लोग थे सब. तो बेचारे के साथ बहुत चोट हुई है, बहुत दुखी है वो आज. तो
कितनों के तो डीएम में बैठा हुआ था ये.
या तो ये खुद कैटफिश कर रहा था लोगों को, या कैटफिश हो रहा था. नरकुंडी, व्हाट डू यू हैव टू से फॉर योरसेल्फ? और आई होप कि तेरा माइक सही हो गया अब.
Nope.
Nobody can hear you.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, I think you have to go to settings and then choose a mic. But yeah, who am I? Anyways, let's see आज की ताजा खबरें कि मार्केट में क्या चल रहा है. And let me. Yes, you're live now.
Nope.
क्या आदमी है यार ये.
I mean, every day there has to be some technical glitch from his side.
Yes. Wait, let me share my screen and start with today's news.
But नरकुंडी चीख रहा है, उसको लग रहा है कि इतने देर सही हो जाएगा. ये एनालॉग थोड़ी है.
Yes. ठीक है भाई.
माइक को मारेगा तड़. चल.
आज क्या बात कर रहे हैं हम?
बात तो पहले तो थोड़ी खबर दिखा देते हैं लोगों को.
Let's see what's happening in the cityverse.
Yes. तो ये दिख रहा है तुमको? आज पीपीआई डेटा आने वाला है. And expected is 2.7%. I think it's in like another 20 minutes. So while we're on the call, this will happen. And let's see कि क्या आता है. पर इन्होंने जो GDP डेटा है, they sort of are not going to release that because obviously अगर release करेंगे because कि shutdown में कोई आया नहीं काम वाम करने के लिए, so they couldn't release it. That's what they're saying. But if there is no data, nobody will judge the government as such. Anyways, next तेरा yes, कल हमने एक न्यूज़ डाली थी कि it was actually from Reuters, right? कि DOGE जो है as a department eliminate हो गया है, but apparently it was fake news. And
okay, of course.
Yeah, and then DOGE actually put out a tweet कि Reuters fake news. So I'm guessing कि अब Reuters पे भी भरोसा नहीं कर सकते. They're also picking up like their news from some like random X account or something.
Perhaps. Quite possible.
Yes. CME Group announced that spot quoted XRP and SOL futures are arriving on December 15. What are spot quoted XRP? What are spot quoted futures? Realist?
I have no idea, man, what these are.
No.
I think probably, yeah. I don't know. Spots maybe, I guess. Spot ETFs could be.
No, but like they think futures. So I'm guessing कि ये perps type के होंगे मेरे हिसाब से. I think it might be like perps. Yeah.
Can't say. I haven't heard of spot quoted futures ever. I mean,
or maybe they are.
Ideally, a future quotes the spot price always. So I don't know, why would you need an ETF for a future when you're sort of anyway, because it's a non-leveraged ETF anyway, right? I'm guessing this is a non-leveraged ETF that you're.
But this is not an ETF. Like this is like the CMA group announcing ki futures, spot quoted futures, jo hai.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
exactly how BTC futures trades on the CME and the ETH futures trade on the CME, right? Perpetuals don't
Yes.
exist in the free market world, by the way. I mean,
Got it.
perpetuals was, I don't know, some say it was invented by Arthur Hayes, right? And so perpetuals are a crypto phenomena, right? Perpetuals ideally do exist in the bond world, in the money markets. You'll probably have banks issuing perpetual bonds. But like, for example, even like a MicroStrategy today issues maybe like perpetual dividend payout preferred stocks. But other than that, perpetuals don't really exist in the normal world. Usually they're all delivery-based futures. So an XRP and a SOL futures is effectively a SOL and an XRP getting listed on CME, because CME only trades derivatives, right? So CME does not have any spot trading. So now it makes sense. I'm sorry, I thought this was ETF news, which is why I said I don't know anything about it, because it didn't make sense. Yeah.
Got it. No, we can't.
Okay, not really. Yeah.
They can hear you through
Whatever
my
you
mic.
say, bro.
Yeah. What? Yes, you're right. That is exactly what spot coded
बीच में अभी तेरा वापस से चालू हुआ था, फिर तूने फिर किसी तरह बंद करी. You have to select the mic, I think. Like
maybe he can sit with a whiteboard and write down what he wants to say.
Yeah.
I think that'll be pretty.
or sign language, you know, news में side में चलते हैं sign language वैसा वो रहा.
या तो तू वो वॉइस कोड चला दे स्टीफन हॉकिंग्स की तरह बैठा हुआ.
चलो नेक्स्ट December 10th पे the क्या बोलते probability of a rate cut has gone up to 80%. It was like 65%, तो 15% और बढ़ गया है.
Yeah, I think it was because of poor, high jobless claims data, right? I think why this sort of came up. But remember what we were discussing earlier, that QE is good provided it's not done in panic. And now I think QE looks like it's being done in panic, which is why markets could react differently. But I must say markets are very, very efficient that way. If they feel that a QE in December now means like a reaction to poor employment or sort of poor unemployment data, they'll sort of price in any sort of aberration that they'll have to before QE happens. Yeah.
Yes. चलो BNB ETF आने वाला है. SEC filing shows that VanEck has filed
काफी
for
सारे
spot
ETFs आ रहे हैं ना. I think Link की भी बात चल रही है.
लिंक भी है, लिंक है, कार्डानो है.
कार्डानो ये सब की बात चल रही है. बट अभी प्राइमरीली SOL, XRP, DOGE. So DOGE का भी आया है and ये BNB.
Like it will be fun to see people participate in ETFs, because अभी तक क्या है कि the ETFs which only came out were sort of fundamental assets, right? Which were like BTC, which has shaped itself like a fundamental asset. I kind of see, I'm of the opinion that an Ethereum is more of a store of value, because a BTC is a store. It's like gold, right? BTC holds notional value because the consensus says it needs to hold notional value, right?
Yes.
It's like gold because it doesn't produce anything, right? Yeah. So everybody says that the price of gold is going to be this much, so it holds. And that is a very good narrative, right? I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, because that's how gold has been. I'm of the opinion that ETH is a proper store of value because you can assign some value to ETH, right? Because let's say the play here is the tokenization of financial assets, and this asset is going to secure all of that. So it makes sense. Right? Like, for example, a silver is assigned more towards economic activity and its price is linked more to economic activity.
Because it has more industrial usage and stuff.
Exactly.
So some people, I know of a lot of people who prefer silver as a store of value because you can ascertain some sort of value to it based on economic activity, right?
Yes.
Similarly, so ETH, I'm of the view that ETH is far more valuable than a Bitcoin, right? I mean, we will soon see. I mean, like the fact that BTC is the anchor of the crypto universe, I think will someday definitely end once the economic activity sort of outperforms store of value pure play. But now we are seeing with these sort of ETFs coming about, like a Cardano ETF. Who the fuck uses Cardano, right? I mean,
exactly.
A couple of days back, somebody was stress testing Cardano, and I think the network sort of failed. They had to fork the network.
Oh my God.
Yeah, didn't you hear about this? This is
I didn't hear about this.
there was another news that the network was down. They didn't even realize that the
like,
network.
I think 4 days back, dude. This is 4
Yeah.
days
Wow.
back.
They didn't
Oh,
even
They
know
had
that
to
the network
fork the
was down.
network. Yeah, they had to fork the network because and people were like, dude, who the hell uses Cardano anyway for it to actually go down? So one person was randomly stress testing the network and he actually caused the entire network to crash. So it'll be fun to watch what I would say Wall Street Capital does when it comes to sort of betting on these hype assets. Like they're going to buy a Cardano ETF only on the basis of hype. So they're sort of,
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're going to behave like Wall Street guys or are they going to behave like us in suits, where it's like us, where we sort of only invest looking at hype. And will they do the same thing, or will they say that, you know what, no, this doesn't make sense. Let me go and buy this because this makes more sense from a numbers perspective. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to watch how the money flow happens once these altcoin ETFs hit the market.
Yeah, Big Short 2 coming up in the next 10 years.
Yeah, obviously. Exactly.
नरकुंडी देखो फिर माइक ट्राई करना है तेरा.
Yeah, we can hear you fine now. Yeah.
चले गया यार, रूठ गया वो. Wait. Yes. All right. Next क्या है? Oh yeah. Actually, this was a little bit surprising कि हम बात कर रहे थे इतने दिन से कि like obviously because there's so much extreme, there's extreme fear and greed, fear in the market. So बहुत बार क्या होता है कि जितनी भी ये तेरी investment activity है, it gets stalled and like a lot of projects are not able to sort of raise capital and stuff. But there is this news that crypto VC activity, as per Cointelegraph, has hit $4.6 billion in Q3. That is like the second best quarter since FTX collapse in 22.
Where, bro? I haven't seen that activity. Where?
Narkundi, you're working now.
What? You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just when I was about to throw the headphones away. Beautiful. Chalo.
क्या केबल लगा नहीं हुआ था क्या उसका?
Oh, anything is possible. Stage पे चल रहा है, live पे नहीं चल रहा है.
चलो. हाँ, तो this is also surprising, right? So I'm guessing why you and I, why sort of crypto daddy is saying that कि नहीं दिख रहा, because I don't think कि जो पहले जो last cycle में सारे छोटे projects raise कर रहे थे, tier 2, tier 3 वाले, with all the small VCs, that is not like happening anymore, right? It's only the big sort of tier 1, maybe high FDV projects that are raising money. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
bro, I don't know this how.
right?
Yeah, and plus I don't know how they are calculating this, because if they add in the 1.2, 1.4 billion that Ripple raised, that's like 25% of the total amount that they're looking into, right? So we don't know really.
Got it. No, so actually there was this very क्या बोलते हैं, interesting sort of research that was posted by Outlier Ventures also, and उसमें भी वो यही बात कर रहे थे कि all the tier 2, tier 3 वाले जितने छोटे projects हैं, they're not raising money, but anything with over like say 100 million valuation is actually like able to raise money. So
which is interesting. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, we just saw Monad going live, and they didn't find it confident enough to launch their own token on their own network. They launched it on Solana, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a joke, but so yeah, I mean, we're seeing money flowing in. I think Monad raised about $150 million.
Yeah.
The team is fantastic, by the way, right? But sometimes good teams also get bludgeoned by poor market conditions. So I don't deny what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to bring about Ethereum sort of decentralization and security with Solana kind of throughput. So I get that. Great concept. But yeah, the reality is the reality. And I'm seeing a lot of activity on Monad right now. I don't know whether the airdrop has been given out yet or not. But
it started.
Yeah,
no, I think it's
so,
not December. Monad airdrop.
I don't know, but if they sort of amp up the price. Before that, it's mostly inorganic volumes which are amping it up. They're at about half a bill in MCAP right now. So interesting times. Let's see what happens, because we've seen what's happened with the previous L1s, right? Be it a movement which was effectively an L2, they refused to call themselves an L1. I don't know why. Then VanEck just recently refunded $25 million to one of its investors because they apparently had that in their contract, which is running the circles right now. So one of I don't want to name investors, but one of the investors had a clause: up to 1 year after TGE, we can have the money refunded, which was the original principle, without any loss. So they recently apparently did that. So I don't know on what basis is Cointelegraph quoting this number. I kind of agree with Crypto Daddy here. I mean, there's no insight as to how they're sort of arriving at that figure, because out there things are pretty dry, especially in VC circuits.
We've also spoken like in the past कि जैसे हम Sonic के लिए बात करते हैं, right? कि Sonic पे ये scalability और ये सब उन्होंने system ऐसा पूरा अपना chain ऐसी खड़ी की है कि इतनी speed आएगी, ये इतनी scalability आएगी. But again, there is not much activity on the chain itself. Does Monad have any activity? Like, what is the app? Unki chain
I think Narkodi was tracking Monad very closely, and most of that activity was just now it's mainnet, right? All of that activity before that was just testnet. I don't think the mainnet has applications as of now, and the problem the problem that I have here is even if you look at activity, right? Activity is one thing. Like, you could have a chain which has fantastic high throughput. You could have a chain which does fantastic transactions per second, but if there is no underlying value moving around, what's the point of having a brilliant PPS? It just becomes a vanity metric then.
For example, and the valuation as well, right? It is at 2.4 billion valuation. ये किस चीज के basis पे valuation है?
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ. Like जैसा अगर अब तुम मुझे एक बात बताओ, right? Okay, Monad की valuation आज के दिन में $3 billion है, ठीक है? Monad की valuation $3 billion, and if you were to take the ratio of ecosystem TVL, right, versus MCAP का ratio, ठीक है? Monad पे zero activity है आज के दिन में. Ethereum पे इतनी activity है. मैं अगर same multiple Ethereum पे लगा दूं, Ethereum की price आज के दिन में 10 गुना हो जानी चाहिए. Why is Monad holding up a valuation of $3 billion and Ethereum still trading at 300 bill? Ethereum technically should be trading at a trill. If I apply the same metric at which a Monad is being valued at, right? तो या तो Monad mispriced है, या तो Ethereum mispriced है, क्योंकि Ethereum पे action है. अब हमें decide करना है, consensus will eventually decide which of the two is mispriced, either one or the other, and it is bound to happen. I mean, both won't sustain here. One will either go up, one will either go down. So we don't know what will happen. Yeah, let's see.
Yes. As Monad का testnet track कर रहा था until October, heavily stable, man. Like, you had 300 million wallets engaging with Monad testnet. So उतने तो लोग ही नहीं है crypto में. They had more than 3 billion transactions. March and April, which were month 2 and 3 for the testnet, they had 86 million wallets using the testnet. 200 million wallets, but then it just started drying out. Like, as the testnet continued, May, June onwards, it just started drying up to a more realistic number of just 3 million wallets that were engaging with testnet. I don't know, mainnet I'll create another dashboard for it. But yeah, it's just airdroppers who were eager for it because it was the hottest L1 that had announced the Monad points.
And शुरू में भी जितना भी volume आएगा, मेरे ख्याल से वो airdroppers ही आएगा. They will sort of
बिल्कुल. I mean, to be honest,
conditions on them. हाँ, core conditions
लगाएंगी. Airdroppers and this whole airdropping strategy helped all these protocols sort of fake their volumes and DVLs and everything, right? And I think that is what happened with multiple L1s throughout the last 2 years we've seen. I mean, it all started with that, what was that? Jupiter? Right, the best airdrop that everybody got, right? They basically were started it, and then it was just like a cascade
honestly,
of airdrops. And
the best airdrop was started with Arbitrum. Arbitrum,
that was
like last cycle.
It is a successful story
and that's a success. But yeah. But then, of course, like how everything happens in crypto, people take things and then turn it into something extremely schemy and sketchy, and then it turns into something that just destroys the entire ecosystems. So
correct. You're absolutely right. Because I think I mean, अब ये जितने भी like CryptoDaddy is saying, like everyone sort of just was propping up their numbers using airdrops. So वही रहा है कि high throughput है, करेंगे क्या high throughput का unless or until there is actual sort of value moving around from one hand to the other. It doesn't make sense. Using just this fake volume, it doesn't really make any difference.
You know what we should do
One
is
thing
we
that
should
adds volume on L1s, and it's funny, but one thing that really brings in volumes on L1s and successfully so is meme tokens. If your meme tokens can actually, push through,
Correct.
they end up
Correct.
bringing a lot of organic volume to your chain. That's what Solana did. That's what happened to, what was that? There was a token on Brett. I don't know what chain it was. I think it was
Brett, I think was
Base, right?
Base, yeah.
Base,
Brett
yeah.
was Base.
Brett and Toshi or Base.
Right.
Yeah.
And they brought the volume to Base, just these two tokens. And I think that is one of the major utilities of meme tokens today. I mean, if you have L1s, you need to have solid sort of meme community, because that brings in the real organic user to your chain. And then 100%. You can probably build on that. But
correct.
And that's not easy.
Like if you remember, Solana back in 2022, 2023 was a dead chain, right? Nobody was talking about it. Yeah, I mean, it went up in the last cycle because everything was going up in hype, but technically it was a dead chain in terms of numbers and metrics. And ever since Pump.Fund came out, they started pulling mad numbers. Then Iridium came out, or Jupiter came out. Yeah. Suddenly it became the chain to be. But if you look at it, apart from Pump.Fund, there's nothing. I mean, Iridium and Jupiter are essentially Pump.Fund ecosystem plays, right? So if you remove that, there's nothing else there. Like I keep saying, I mean, Ethereum today is attracting people on its own. The Ethereum Foundation doesn't have to pay an entity. You know what? Hey, BlackRock, come and build on me. Here's $20 million. They don't have to do that, right? Everyone else has to do it. And I think slowly and steadily, quality is going to sort of differentiate itself from the rest, and is going to find itself way, way ahead of the pack as we see all season sort of pan out this time.
Also, in case of Ethereum, bro, there's also this major thing that most people ignore, is that ecosystem has been there since what, 2015, right? Correct. And so you have developers, you have code base that is like a massive library available to you.
Battle tested.
Yeah.
Never been down, never been hacked.
Millions of forks available to you. You can literally, pull out modules from 10 different things, put together, build a protocol, get it live on Ethereum. It's that easy, right? As compared 100%. To any other L1, right? So that is why Ethereum generates more individuals or protocols building on it.
Also truly decentralized, right? Since the beginning, like or even like BNB pe aap dekho, there's always been some allegation ki jo aadhe nodes hai BNB ke is owned by basically Binance only.
Yeah.
But Ethereum ke liye aisa kabhi nahi hai ki like it's concentrated with a chunk of people. It's like spread out. So ये है. Now let's talk about MicroStrategy. हम 2-3 दिन से MicroStrategy की बात कर रहे हैं.
Sensitive topic.
Yeah, they had this whole issue with JP Morgan, and obviously Saylor is like now everywhere, right? CNBC and everywhere. पर बोल रहा है कि भाई ये JP Morgan वाले जो short वॉट ले रहे हैं सब बेवकूफ है, बिटकॉइन की प्राइस ऊपर जाने वाली है, whatever. So आज अपने एक 45 सब्सक्राइबर्स में एक ने रिक्वेस्ट भी किया था कि कैन यू डू अ डीप डाइव ऑन MicroStrategy. So let's do that. CryptoDaddy तुझसे स्टार्ट करते हैं with the history of sort of Michael Saylor and strategy, and how did it start and where did he come from?
Okay, so Michael Saylor, well, to be honest, I think he's an MIT graduate, and interestingly, he's an aeronautics and aerospace engineer sort of thing, right? And very early got into IT and technology and stuff. And so him and one of his friends in MIT, I don't remember the other guy, was some Indian American dude. They started MicroStrategy together, right? And MicroStrategy basically started as a software entity, right? They were basically building, I don't remember exactly what they were building. They were into sort of support software services. And then they later evolved into business intelligence and data analytics tools. That's what happened. I think in the early 90s, that's what they did do. Once that happened, then they went for an IPO, I think in 1998, right? And initially they were really good. By 2000, I think, or the dot-com bubble. They were like, everybody was eyeing on them. Okay, MicroStrategy is a great company. They're making their earnings reports were excellent. And then dot-com bubble happened, and MicroStrategy stocks, they fell up to, I think, 99%. It just crashed bad. And then SEC sort of filed charges on them. There was very famous, आज भी हम उसी के बारे में बात करते हैं कि इस पे तो पहले भी केस हुआ हुआ है. And the case was that he was basically he was prematurely sharing his or basically premature revenue show कर रहा था अपना, and he was inflating his revenue data, which was pushing the share price up eventually. So yeah, he didn't accept the blame. He didn't deny it. He just settled it, paid 350,000 as a fine or whatever, and then continued on. And I think after that, the MSTR shares were really just flatlining. They didn't really do well. In fact, they were just moving down. And then came 2020 when he decided to sort of get into Bitcoin and started buying Bitcoin as a reserve for the company, the strategic reserve for their company asset, just to manage their balance sheet. And I think that was about $250 million worth of BTC that he bought in 2020. And that year, Mr. Stocks skyrocketed, right? So they went like 400% up or something like that. It literally went crazy. Up $250 तक चला गया था token उसका price. Yeah, it went up, and then since then he's been the talk of the town. Like he's been a very strong advocate of BTC, and in all reality, all this time his actual business model has not been generating enough revenue. I mean, they've been barely breaking even. I think by now their share, the revenue models that they have, I think the business itself raises like 500-600 million in revenues per year. I mean, it's barely anything compared to what he actually shows. So yeah, and what they did since 2020 is they've been accumulating BTC, expanding their balance sheet, and sort of and because of that they're pushing their stock prices further high, right? And one thing that a lot of people when trading Mr. right, they think that it's it's volatile, yes. Is he excellent in pushing BTC? We don't know. But to look at it from a very long-term perspective, if you had bought in $1,000 worth of Mr. stocks in 1998 or 1999, today they'll be worth like $15,000-$16,000, right? So over 15 years or 20 years, they have actually made money. But throughout this time, they've been extremely volatile. So the stocks have gone down 99% and then come back up, and then gone down 50-60% and then come back up.
It's
and
like
they've been volatile. Exactly. I mean, to be honest, he's like the OG crypto founder with his tokens moving up and down. So yeah, so that's Mr. I think there's a lot of how he trades and how he manages his balance sheet with BTC. I think realists will be better to explain that. But yeah.
Narkundi, other than their financial sort of products that other than sort of the IT products that they offer, right? They also offer some kind of financial products like हम आपके लिए BTC खरीद के रखेंगे या something like that. Like in ETF, do they do that? Like they have some range of products which I was seeing. So just give us a little detail about that.
Yeah, if you check Strategy's homepage, it looks more like a financial products website than a actual BI company. And it's one thing for their stock to fluctuate based on actual market share, but their BI services is less than 1% or less than 2% of actual BI. So you have Power BI, Tableau, the bigwigs who have all their market share. So holding on to that stock back in 99 when it crashed 99%, I think nobody would have done that, to see like what will happen 20 years later. Yes. So now if you check Strategy's site, so you have a couple of products. So first one is the MSTR stock, which is pure common stock. It doesn't offer any equity on it, which means that whatever the price goes up, you have the upside and the equal downside. In addition to that, they have financial products structured as preferred stocks. Preferred stocks come right in between debt. So if, let's say in the case of liquidation, debtors have to be paid the money. After that come preferred stocks, which are these individual products that they have offered. And below that is common stock. So in terms of the preferred stocks, they have a couple of products in them. The most lowest rated one in the preferred stocks is called STRD. And this one, it offers 10% yield. So these products, these are being incentivized by the yield that they're offering. So 10% yield on them, 8% yield on them, depending on which product you choose. But that's the initial, let's say, catch for users that, okay, if you don't want pure equity exposure to MSTR, you can go for these products where you get 8%, 10% yield. And the only one that offers a convertibility into MSTR is the STRK product that they have. Now that offers a lower yield of 8%, but it gives you the option to convert at 0.1 for every 0.1 for every MSTR that you want to buy it to. And the last one that they have is STRF, which is the highest in terms of the preferred stocks, but then your dividend yield is slightly lower at 9%. Now, recently with all the pan side you're on, like, what's happening, BTC prices, what's happening with JP Morgan and all, the yield on their products has started to fluctuate. So the junior most one, which is STRD, it's supposed to offer a 10% yield, but right now it's offering a 14% yield, which means that the people who are invested into it, they are losing a bit of confidence. So you have to offer high yield to newer people who are coming in to support the previous ones that are there. And that's causing a lot of fluctuation because each of these preferred stock products, they have more than 500 million in MCAP. So there's a lot of yield that needs to be distributed to these people. And unless people don't keep coming in to these products, how do you give back the yield to the additional, to the people who came in earlier? And also, I think from their balance sheets, one of the concerns was that they, from a pure cash basis, they had about 50 million in cash. So where do you pay these dividend yields from if you're not getting new people? So as long as BTC is going up, it's great because the exposure continues and they can say that, okay, on balance sheet, this is additional, returns that they have generated, which means they can borrow more money and then pay off those yields. But what happens when the prices start crashing? And I don't think a lot of people are prepared for that scenario right now.
Got it. यही सेम जो नरकुंडी इस पे बात कर रहे थे, कल मारियो नॉफल ने भी एक रियलिस्टिक बहुत बड़ा sort of पोस्ट निकाला और मैं तेरे शेयर भी किया था कि आज इस पे बात करते हैं. What he is also saying कि उनका जो मॉडल है MicroStrategy का, it's gonna fail. So can you just like tell people like in simpler terms कि what does that mean, कि क्या ऑफर कर रहे हैं और क्या उनकी पेमेंट्स आ रही हैं और किस तरह से वो मॉडल फेल होने वाला है?
So one thing that people sort of alluded to was the dividend overhang, right? Which effectively is there on the STRK, STRE, and the other products that they've sort of come up with, which is basically preferred stock that they've issued, right? MSTR is a game of value accretion, right? It is, I mean, we've seen this in crypto. I mean, if someone remembers Olympus DAO, it was pretty much the same model what MSTR sort of functions on. तो वो लोग क्या करते हैं, if you have, let's say Bitcoin is trading at $100, for example, right? Price of one BTC is $100. And MSTR is effectively holding BTC and MSTR price is also $100. So technically, for one MSTR, you have one BTC backing because MSTR का price भी $100 है, MSTR के shares भी one ही है, right? And BTC भी one है because MSTR has to hold 1:1 का value, right? That's the whole play. अब होता क्या है कि because MSTR is more accessible than ETFs, right, or had been for a very, very long time, people were happily paying a premium on MSTR in order to get BTC exposure, right? I'll sort of start by summarizing what Crypto Daddy and Narkundi have already said, right, just to set up the base on what that is all about or what the FUD is all about right now. So now let's say because people were paying that higher price, for example, पहले क्या होता था, हम लोग जैसे होता नहीं था कि हम लोग एक meme token खरीदने के लिए, because we know we are going to make 10x on it, we would even end up paying $100 in gas fees. फर्क नहीं पड़ता था, 10% भी gas fees में देते थे हम लोग, because हमको तो पता है यार, हमको तो 10 गुना कमाना है इसमें, right? So we never sort of bothered paying that additional tax. I mean, as tax in the form of transaction revenue. At times, I remember we've also paid double. Like अगर $100 का ticket size है, $200 भी pay कर दिया हम लोगों ने, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, allocation मिल जाएगी. हमें तो $1000 बनाने, मैं $100 डाल के $900 कमाने वाला था. $100 गैस में चले गए, कोई बात नहीं, 800 कमा लूंगा, it is still money made, right? Because that is the potential upside, which is why historically we saw that maybe an MSTR was trading at 2x the value also at times, right? तो होता क्या था कि अब देखो MSTR का शेयर है बाजार में 1, ठीक है, MSTR का प्राइस चल रहा है $200, BTC का प्राइस चल रहा है $100, MSTR के पास एक BTC है, टेक्निकली अभी उनके पास एक डबल का प्रीमियम, 2x का प्रीमियम चल रहा है उनके NAV के बेसिस पे. तो व्हाट विल MSTR डू in this particular case? The first thing that MSTR started doing before it started raising money on debt, right? The first base thing that it did was, अरे $200 का प्राइस चल रहा है MSTR का, शेयर तो एक ही है, BTC भी एक है मेरे पास, BTC का प्राइस भी $100 है. Let me do one thing. Let me issue additional MSTR shares, right? So what I will then do is I will issue one more MSTR share, just one more, and I'll sell it in the open market, right? मैं जब ओपन मार्केट में बेचूंगा मेरे को $200 मिल गए उसके, ठीक है?
Yes.
उस $200 से मैंने क्या किया, 2 BTC और खरीद लिया मैंने, बिकॉज मेरा थीसिस ही यही है, मैं सिर्फ BTC खरीद सकता हूँ, ठीक है? मेरे को जितना से ज्यादा BTC चाहिए. तो अब मैंने वो $200 से BTC खरीद लिया. BTC का प्राइस कितना चल रहा है, $100. मेरे पास 2 BTC आ गए. अब इफेक्टिवली मेरे पास कितने BTC हो गए, 3 BTC हो गए. पहले एक था, अब 2 और खरीद लिए. मेरे शेयर्स कितने हैं, पहले मेरा प्रीमियम 2x था, मेरे अभी शेयर्स कितने हैं MSTR के, 2 शेयर हैं. BTC कितने हैं, 3.
Yes.
ठीक है. I have what I have effectively done is, पहले मेरा अगर वैल्यूएशन प्रीमियम 2x था, वो वैल्यूएशन प्रीमियम अभी 1.5x के करीब आ गया.
1.5.
I am still above, on a premium basis, I am still above my net asset value. This is called the process of accretion. तो पहले ये लोग ये करते थे, they used to just keep on issuing, so the price would trade above, they would just issue more stocks, sell it in the open market, get more premium, buy more BTC with it, unless or until the price comes close to 1 NAV, right? जब 1 NAV पे आ जाएंगे ये कर नहीं सकते, because then you will be trading at a discount. Nobody wants that, right? Your short shareholders will lose confidence. So then what he thought of doing was, let me do another thing. He then went ahead and started raising convertible bonds, right? This is the second thing that Michael Saylor did, right? अब convertible bonds में वो क्या करता था, convertible bonds में he would go and say that, you know what, I will give you a convertibility factor. So whatever money that I'm raising from you, and these are set to mature in 2028, 2029, right? Long-term mature bonds लिए थे इसने. He then gave the option to the creditors, saying that, भैया तुम मेरे को पैसा दो, right? I will use this to go and buy BTC, right? Now if I go and buy BTC, right, मेरा BTC का quantity बढ़े जा रहा है, मेरा NAV expand हो जा रहा है, I can go and issue more of my sort of shares, because उस केस में मेरे को शेयर तो भी इशू नहीं करना पड़ रहा, मैंने बस अभी बॉन्ड इशू किया. This bond is convertible for MSTR, right? Should you choose to, and when will a creditor convert it to MSTR? Provided the price of MSTR is trading way above the actual NAV price, the creditor will say, मैंने तेरे को 100 रुपए उधार में दिए थे, तू पैसे मत दे, मेरे को स्टॉक दे दे, मैं स्टॉक बेच के पैसे कमा लूंगा अपने, right? Or the other case is, if the price is trading below NAV, the creditor can say, you know what, pay me back my paisa, I don't want to convert it to MSTR, you pay me back my principal money, right? ये करके he raised roughly about $8 billion, right? And this is, and to be honest, $8 billion is still a drop in the ocean when it comes to the asset size that he's holding, right?
Yeah.
Next, तो अब इससे उसका मन भर गया, and इसमें ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट नहीं देता था वो, इसमें उसका इंटरेस्ट is very very low. His interest was 0.5% per year, which is negligible, because he's giving a convertibility option.
Yeah.
So
it's not cash,
which is why he's not giving much interest, right?
Yeah.
Then came his preferred stock. उसने बोला यार इससे मेरा पेट भर गया, अब मैं कुछ नया करके देखता हूँ. He's like a DeFi scientist, right? As we call it.
Yeah.
He's coming up with these flywheels. So what did he do next? He then, something that Narkuti was talking about, and he explained that very very well, so I won't go into much detail. So he then issued these preferred stocks like STRK and जो भी SPRC, जो भी उसने मतलब अलग अलग stretch कुछ तो नाम नहीं थे उनके. He then started issuing them. उसके अंदर उसने क्या किया, उसने बोला इसमें मैं तुम्हें, this is direct stock, right? There is no principal or whatever here. He's directly issued stock, and he's then told them that, you know what, you buy for this stock, I will pay you a fixed dividend payout every year. Now in this case, because obviously capital was becoming a little difficult for him to raise, because this looks like a desperate move, because earlier he was getting capital at 0.1%. This time he's raised capital, which is preferred stock, at 10%, 8%, the figures that Narkoti mentioned, right? Clearly because ETFs came about. जब ETFs आ गए इसकी लग गई, because इसके product का वो edge चला गया. So which is why cost of capital for him became very, very expensive, which is very evident by the fact that he sort of issued these preferred stock units, not options. अब इसमें क्या है कि the dividend payout is something that he has to pay out, right? तो common stockholders जो है, जो MSTR के common stockholders हैं, उनको dividend तब मिलता है अगर he decides to give, like if the board decides to issue dividend. इसमें compulsory dividend जाता है आपका, right? And the overall, and इसमें भी I roughly feel he raised about $7 billion from this also, right? And 10% annual yield के हिसाब से $700 million का इसका payout बनता है, इसका which has to be paid out every quarter, right? So has to be paid out every quarter. कुछ का I think monthly है, मेरे को पता नहीं, but this is what he has to pay out. So $700 million is what he needs to pay out on a yearly basis. So divide that by roughly 4, you're looking at way around
$125
million, I think. Sorry, 125 maybe, right? I think the dates of the 175, if you're looking at it, that's 700.
175,
175 every quarter, right, is what he has to pay out. Now the problem, and this is also another, like I mentioned, roughly about $7 billion, right? $7.5 billion. This is what's an immediate overhang, right? Because this is not principal that he needs to pay back, right? The only way he can get rid of this debt, right? So in his bonds that he had bought, right, or sorry, that he had issued, उसमें क्या है कि the seller can, so the creditor can say कि भाई मेरे को अभी मेरा principal वापस चाहिए. If say for a very long period of time it's trading below par value, MSTR के पास भी एक call option है कि वो बोल सकता है I am calling back my bond, ठीक है, मैं तुम्हारे पैसे भी वापस कर रहा हूँ before maturity date also, if he feels that the price is trading above premium, because what he will do, he will simply issue more stocks, sell it in the open market, garner that premium. जब तक MSTR is trading above 1 NAV, that is pure play profit for Mr. Michael Saylor. I think the current effective DAM of MSTR, I don't know what the figure is. I think the NAV right now is 1.2. 20% is pure profit for him, right?
ऊपर चले गया वापस. अभी तो देख,
I think it's 1.2 जितना मैंने last देखा था. So
नहीं 1.2 से 1.25 1.3 होगा, because पिछले साल they were trading between 2.5 to 3 and this year they dropped to
1.18 पे अभी.
1.18 पे, right? 1.2 सही.
Correct. So anyway, so now comes the point that where the FUD. So this is a very dangerous flywheel. No questions about that, right? Because what he's doing is playing with fire, and it is clearly evident that the cost of capital is becoming more and more expensive for him, right? Because the flywheel keeps on running as and when the price of BTC keeps on moving up. With वो जितना BTC खरीदेगा उतना price ऊपर जाएगा, premium जितना रहेगा उतना और stock बेच पाएगा, वो अपने खर्चे पूरे कर पाएगा, because his software business is a negative cash flow business anyway, right? So it's not that he's generating much cash there. I feel where the entire FUD comes from, right? So people are saying that this $700 million in dividend payouts. That's an annual payout, right? It is not immediate 700 million. It is an annual payout जो पिछले काफी टाइम से payout होए जा रहा है. उसका एक किश्त अभी end of December जाना है, right? एक किश्त अभी end of December जाना है, एक किश्त अभी March के end में जाना है, right? One installment of that, because like I mentioned, it's paid out in quarters, quarterly dividends. Now, what happens is, I haven't read through the issue document, but no dividend is a legally mandated dividend. By the end of the day, if he feels, or if the shareholder feels that by this person is not paying me dividends anymore, what will they do? What will they do? There is nothing that they can either file a case against him. वो बोलेगा मेरे पास cash flow ही नहीं है, मैं क्या करूं, right? Unless or until the SEC mandates him to going into bankruptcy, because he himself won't sell that BTC. What else can he do? He can either issue fresh stock, which is 20% का जो इसके पास leeway पड़ा हुआ है, and use that to pay off his sort of obligations. Or what he can do is, भाई वो जो 20% का उसके पास differential पड़ा हुआ है, वो बेच के ये सारा stock open market से खरीद ले कि ये legal obligation ही खत्म हो जाए इसकी. So we don't know what he's going to do. To say that this is a major sort of setback, I don't think that's true. Time will tell, because like I said, I haven't read through the issue documents to see because abhi hoga kya, like for example an STRK and all of these other products that he's come out with, which are dividend paying sort of units, compulsory dividend paying units. Compulsory dividend paying unit का मतलब क्या है? अगर dividend announce होता है, इसको तो सबसे पहले मिलेगा MSTR शेयर होल्डर से पहले. That's what preferred means कि पहले मेरा राइट होगा जब निकलेगा और मेरे को एटलीस्ट इतना तो मिलेगा ही. I don't know the legalities around कि अगर मेरे पास पैसा ही नहीं है देने के लिए तो मैं क्या करूंगा. मैं लिक्विडेट करके तो डिविडेंड दूंगा नहीं, बिकॉज डिविडेंड इज अ शेयर ऑफ प्रॉफिट, राइट. डिविडेंड आपका शेयर होल्डर प्रॉफिट से आता है. या तो आप उधार लेके डिविडेंड पे आउट करो, राइट. या तो वो कर सकते हो. You can raise debt to pay off dividends. Now the question is for how long can you do that? Like I mentioned, उसके पास 20% बफर है अभी भी उधार लेने के लिए, because the current price is trading above NAV, right. या तो प्राइस ऑफ BTC और बढ़ जाए तो उसके बाद वो लीवे और बढ़ जाएगा उसका, right. So these are the kind of options that he has. So
or he can just delay the payments.
नहीं दूंगा. और अगर डिविडेंड नहीं देगा, प्रेफर्ड स्टॉक ऑप्शंस का, so not stock options, preferred stock units का, their I would say the right that those shareholders have is that the dividends will keep on getting accrued. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आपका पिछले साल का माफ हो जाएगा अगर आपने डिसाइड किया पे ऑफ करने का. तो he can, like I said, either he can buy these back, right, and nullify it. Number two, he can sort of take a loan and then pay it back because he still has that money. So he can issue fresh stock, sell it in the market, reduces premium and then pay these guys off, or use it to buy it back. Or he can simply say मेरे पास नहीं है अभी देने के लिए, मैं अगली बार दूंगा. He is not mandated to make these payments right now. Let me tell you that much.
Got it.
I think one thing. नहीं, मेरे हिसाब से there is one thing कि the FUD is mostly not on the preferred stocks. The FUD is mostly on MSTR price and BTC valuation, right? कि वो जो FUD चलता है वो I know there is no problem, but the problem, देखो problem तब आता है जब जो हम बात करते हैं ना वो convertible bonds जो इसने issue किए हुए, right? And why? And there is this whole conversation of that, you know, his liquidation valuation is at 70K or 60K or जो भी है.
There is no liquidation valuation concept here.
There is no liquidation. No, the liquidation नहीं होती. But what happens is because of these convertible bonds, right? Those investors जिसको इसने बेचे हुए convertible bonds, those debt bonds, right? They will end up saying अगर price NAV value से 1 से नीचे ज़्यादा चली जाती है, right? And I don't know that that's going to happen, but that is the mentality that people think, right? That is the thing that people think कि वो बोले कि भाई पैसा दो वापस, तो इसके पास और कोई option है नहीं but to liquidate that and then pay these guys off.
Correct. How much is his BTC holding right now? If Narkunding can tell us his current value.
650K. Yeah, 650K.
Multiply that by the current value. How much is that in value?
इसका current MSTR value?
नहीं.
MSTR I think is
value of Bitcoin. Current value of Bitcoin.
Yeah, 100 से भी करोगे तो
100 so about 650 million.
No, 65 billion.
65 billion.
Exactly. 65 billion. His overall liabilities today are 8 billion. That convertible bond is $8 billion. That's it.
So then there is that. That's what I'm saying. That there is really no issue. It's just people's mentality thinking that part. Yeah.
Exactly. And he is not liable to liquidate. Let me tell you this much: if the price of NAV is trading below the price of, if the price of MSTR is trading below NAV, तो क्या कर लेगा कोई उसको?
हाँ, वो जबरदस्ती नहीं है उसको बेचना. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just based on his Bitcoin holdings, he'll be able to raise money.
Does not give anyone the right to call the underlying balance sheet of the company. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Unless or until the company moves into liquidation, which is bankruptcy is declared.
Which is not possible because he's holding 65 billion.
Exactly.
And मेरे को ये बात बताओ, वो बंदा पागल है, वो बंदा BTC होल्ड कर रहा है. उसने बोला मैंने तो कीज उठा के फेंक दिया. क्या कर लोगे तुम मुझे बताओ? क्या कर लोगे?
कुछ नहीं कर सकते आप, कुछ नहीं कर सकते. That's what I'm saying. These guys can't do shit. ये कोई it's a mentality thing. People just think.
वो बोलेगा मेरे कीज खो गए. What will you do?
You can't do shit, bro. So it's just part mentality that crypto has, and I think people just sort of
and I am completely of the viewpoint that what he's doing is very, very dangerous. It's very risky flywheel economics. It takes somebody 5 minutes to figure out. Like I mentioned, जो मैंने mathematics करके देखा है, वो पूरा Olympus Dow का mathematics है. That's what Olympus Dow used to do. So
he's ex-finance in the equity markets.
Yeah, and Olympus Dow today trades below its reserve value, right? Yeah. So and it's perpetually trading below its reserve value because because everybody knows that we will never get access to that reserve asset.
Yeah. Exactly.
But anyway, it is what it is. I mean, you either have confidence in the stock or you don't have confidence in the stock. Does not necessarily mean that you get access to the underlying assets of that particular company, because that you have like for example, if I hold a stock of Coca-Cola, right, and the stock, I feel the balance sheet value of Coca-Cola today is, let's say, $1 trillion, and the stock is trading at $800 billion. Will I then call up Coca-Cola company and tell them, you know what, तुम्हारी कंपनी का वैल्यूएशन $1 ट्रिलियन है, मेरे तो $800 बिलियन पे ट्रेड कर रहा है मेरा शेयर, मेरे को वो पैसे दो अपने बैलेंस शीट से निकाल के, वो थोड़ी मेरे को घर पे कोक का बॉटल बेच देगा वो मेरे घर में, नहीं होता इस तरीके से. That's not how it works, and I think that is what people are missing. Yes, it is definitely a risky flywheel. Nonetheless, what he's doing is playing with fire, but I don't think it gives anybody. I don't think there's enough data around this topic for us to comment saying that, you know what, we'll get that asset. What I think what JP Morgan is
I mean, even if suppose BTC price falls to sort of $50, तब भी वो उसके पास जितनी होल्डिंग्स हैं, that is what 32.5 billion dollars, और अगर उसकी उधारी सिर्फ 15 billion dollar है, तो भी double the value of assets तो है ही उसके पास.
Exactly. अगर उसका एंड में बंद करे, चलो सब कुछ बंद करके चले आते हैं, उसके पास he is well covered. Secondly, मुझे क्या लगता है that what people are essentially saying that this is a mathematical error. So it's not a mathematical error. What they've done is he's done this with all sense, and I mean he's thought this out, and he's
a smart guy, bro. Yeah, he's thought about it.
And I completely agree that he's playing with fire. There's nothing right with what he's doing, but
मजा हुआ खिलाड़ी है और स्कीम चला रहा है, जब तक चले तब तक बढ़िया है. अगर नहीं,
I think that's the right word. स्कीम चला रहा है वो, बहुत
स्कीम चला रहा है.
Yes, even the total outstanding debt was 8 billion and preferred stock is still less at 5.8 billion.
So he has nothing. 12-13 billion ही है total. That's it.
Bro. I mean,
if you look at the mathematics, जो लोग फंड फैला रहे हैं उन्होंने मैथमेटिक्स ढंग से नहीं करी है, मैं ये मानता हूँ. अगर बिकॉज जितना मैंने ये हेडलाइन देखा है ऑन दीस ट्विटर पोस्ट्स, एवरीवन इज कॉलिंग इट अ मैथमेटिकल एरर. व्हेन आई वेंट थ्रू द डेटा, माय ओनली थिंग वाज, if अगर तुम बताते what MSTR is doing is dangerous, I would have supported it. But you are calling it a mathematical error. I would want to say that the person writing this post has committed a mathematical error. He has not gone through the numbers properly, is what I would say.
Got it. ठीक है भाई, आज की बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग और लाइवली डिस्कशन. होपफुली माइकल सेलर ये देखे और आके हमारे शो पे थोड़ा और स्कीम के बारे में हमें बताए. बट जस्ट टिल देन,
लक्ष्मी चीट फंड 2 महीने में पैसा डबल.
Yeah, but till then, please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell icon, and नरकुंडी एक आखिरी चीज बोल दे भाई. तू स्टार्टिंग में बहुत चीजें नहीं बोली, और बता दे तू कितना दुखी है तेरे एक्स अकाउंट को लेके. तू तेरे सूट,
how many people did you lose in your catfish scheme?
नहीं, अभी तक तो कुछ नुकसान नहीं दिखा है. Now I'm rebranding to MAGA, so वहां पे थोड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी दिख रही है. So I'll go support over there.
How many times did you get catfished?
Today or all over?
If you have to ask that question, that means you have been.
We've all been.
All right. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you for joining.
All right. Adios.
Bye.
Adios.